Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Wade?
Good. What about you?
I'm excellent, man. Excellent.
Awesome. So yeah, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being terrible and 5 being excellent, how would you rate your experience so far?
It's been a five, definitely. Not only is Donald patient, but when he shows and I ask a question, I can tell he's not fishing around. Look, he knows the answer, and he explains it to me so that I can pick it up pretty quick. Um, Now, have I mastered all the techniques yet? No, I'm still working on it, but I've got it in my head now,
Yeah,
and it's just a matter of continuing to practice and putting it all together. I'm really happy with what he's doing.
that's great. Yeah, we got it in the head, and then we'll transfer it so it moves quickly to the hands too, when you're doing your different jam sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And can you share a bit about where you were before Guitar Fastlane, like where you felt stuck and different things you were struggling with?
like with me personally, I could play the cowboy chords, and I could do bar chords up and down the neck, and I could do a run here or there, as long as it wasn't more than maybe 5, 6 notes.
Yeah,
But I didn't really have any idea how to learn, and I taught myself most of that. But I didn't really have any idea how to learn or what I needed to learn in order to play lead guitar. I've learned more from Donald in just a few weeks than I picked up in a couple of years going and seeing the guy that I was seeing. And he's not a bad guy, and I'm not trying to dog him out, but he just was not. He wasn't giving it to me, man. and and the other thing is he would give me like these real small snippets of stuff to do. Well, I would come home and that night I'd practice it, I haven't memorized, and by the end of the next day or the day after, I had it down. And he was charging me like crazy money to go for one 30-minute session a week.
yeah,
And I don't mind paying for quality.
yeah. And what are you finding with these sessions instead?
Oh yeah, I'm extremely. I have no gripes. I'm happy. The quality's there, and it's very obvious. Of course, you know him. I don't really know the guy other than seeing him on the screen. Donald, his knowledge is just it's crazy, man. Anytime I ask him a question, he may chuckle a minute and go, yeah. He goes, I wasn't ready to get to that with you yet, but here, let me answer the question. He'll answer me anyway. And
Yeah, yeah, you're asking the questions just right before we're even getting there, which is good. And was there anything you were skeptical with before you got started with us?
um, honestly, no, because before I do anything, before I ever even talked to you the first time, I had looked at reviews. I'd looked at, your online presence and listened to what people were saying. And I had asked a few people, and most people were like, well, I don't know, never heard of them. Because most people aren't willing to do what we're doing, get online and learn. They want to be face to face with somebody.
Yeah,
And but just the online stuff that I read and listening to how excited the guys were, the former students, or I guess maybe they're still students, I don't know. But just listening to them, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a shot. And when I talked to you, you kind of cemented that. You were confident, and I had heard you play and watched you on YouTube a few times, and I just figured it would be a good match. I didn't figure you were going to hook me up with somebody who was going to hand me a book and say, learn that page.
yeah,
Which is kind of what happened to me out
yeah.
in town.
We definitely don't do that. How do you find the transition from in-person lessons to online like this?
It's really, other than we're talking on a screen, I don't think it's any different than being face to face. I mean, because Donald, obviously, I mean, he can listen sometimes and he'll be like, no, you got your third finger in the wrong spot, move it down one string or move it up one fret. Or so, just the fact that he can do that, and I'll look down and I'm like, he's right.
Yeah,
That's kind of that instills confidence in the instructor. The
yeah,
fact that he can't really even see what I'm doing, he just hears it and goes, "Yeah, your third finger's on the wrong string or in the wrong fret or whatever." So,
and you're like, how's he doing that?
well, I'll tell you, sometimes he baffles me when and I know he can't see me, and he'll go, "You need to move your finger now." And I'll sit here and I'll be like, I kind of make a face to myself. How the hell is he hearing all that? I didn't realize this thing picked up that well. But Donald's a funny guy, and I love his personality. He's a great guy to talk to.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you're loving the lesson so much. Great instructor and just great guy overall too.
And the other thing, honestly, and I'm not trying to get him in trouble here, but there's been 2 or 3 times when we'll start at 5, and 5:45 will come and go, and it's closer to 6 before we get done. he runs over a little bit, which is fine with me because
Yeah.
he's explaining something. He doesn't just say, "Oh, well, it's 5:45. Got to go. Bye."
Yeah.
He
Cut it off.
He finishes the explanation of what we're doing. So
I'm glad to hear that. And what would your advice be for anyone that's considering learning with Guitar Fastlane?
if you're serious and you really want help, professional help, and you want to learn what you don't know, I would say go for it 100%. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't even know what I didn't know. I'd never heard of a Spanish scale. I'd heard of modes, but never heard of intervals. Didn't know what he was talking about when he first brought that up. And we hadn't started on it yet, but he's mentioned that, arpeggios are coming. I'd never heard of that stuff because the people around here, all these country back porch pickers that I hang out with playing cowboy chords, some of them can pick a little bit or they can do a little bluegrass, but they don't talk about arpeggios and, the Spanish scale or working the modes and how the modes fit into the music. And so, yeah, anybody that is looking to get better, I personally think I've gotten better, and I've had a couple of people that know me that have listened to me. They're like, man, you're getting good. I'm like, well, I appreciate that, but I don't think I am. We're our own hardest critics as artists or musicians. So, and I'm fully aware of that. But I know I'm learning, and I know I am getting better because I can hear it and see it and feel it every day when I play. Like things that I couldn't do 8 weeks ago, now I can do, and my fingers have gotten a lot more stretchier. I never could stretch my pinky out and get some of the notes that I'm getting now 8 weeks ago. I just couldn't have.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that because it's one thing to have somebody else say, "Oh, you're sounding better," and like you said, sometimes it's easy to doubt yourself. But then, even like you said, to see, hear, and feel it yourself is another thing.
That's great.
When you decided to join this program, what do you feel influenced that decision the most?
Other than watching, the reading and watching the testimonials that you have on your website, and then talking to you, and I guess it wasn't just your confidence, but the confidence of the people that I listened to that gave their video testimonials on what was going on. That's what really said, I think I'm going to give it a try.
Great.
That's just the easiest way I know to say it is I thought you were great, but it was the testimonials of the people that were stepping in there and learning. Because, I noticed, not picking on anybody, but it was an older crowd. And they were saying, hey, they're explaining things and I can understand it and they're not going too fast. And, I know people learn at different levels and some people need more visual or hands-on or whatever. And I was like, if you got this many people saying that they're getting better and it's helping them, there's got to be something to it.
Appreciate your honest feedback on what we can improve and what's going well. And I'll make sure to let Donald know how happy you are too.
Man, he's great. I'm telling you now, that dude he's a good guy. And he is very, very, already, or I'm guessing you wouldn't have hired him if you didn't, but
yeah.
But I really enjoy hanging out and spending time with him.
Yeah.
Because I learned something every time. Now, whether I can perform it the next week when he comes back, I don't, that's up for grabs, but I get it in here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And over time, it'll be there for sure.
And he has definitely gave me explanations on stuff that I had asked my other guitar instructors before, and I just couldn't get an answer to. Like, when do I use this pentatonic, and how do I use it, and where do I use it, or when do I use this, or and then as he's teaching me the modes and the blues scale and all that, I can say, well, when would I do this, and he's got an answer. Man, he can tell me. He's quick on the draw with his answers. He knows his stuff.
No dancing around it.
No, he's not looking through papers trying, well, give me just a second, nothing like that.
Let me pull up the YouTube.
It comes straight out his head, and he's got it. So
yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you get back to the wife, the guitars, and the dogs. And it was great talking to you again, as always.
All right, buddy. I hope you have a good day.